Our scripture reading this morning is from the book of Kings, 1 Kings, chapter 12. Kings chapter 12, beginning from verse 1 through 17. The book of 1 Kings chapter 12, and we'll be reading from verse 1 all the way through 17. And I'll be reading from the NASB version. You can follow silently in a particular version. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1 through 17. Reading now. Then Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had come to Shechem to make him king. Now when Jeroboam the son of Nebat heard of it, he was living in Egypt, for he was yet in Egypt, where he had fled from the presence of King Solomon. Then they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, Your father made our yoke hard. Now therefore lighten the hard service of your father, and his heavy yoke which he put on us, and we will serve you. Then he said to them, Depart for 3 days, then return to me. So the people departed. King Rehoboam consulted with the elders who had served his father Solomon while he was still alive, saying, How do you counsel me to answer these people? Then they spoke to him, saying, If you will be a servant to these people to death, and will serve them and grant them their petition, and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the elders which they had given him, and consulted with the young man who grew up with him, and served him. So he said to them, What counsel do you give, that we may answer these people who have spoken to me, saying, Lighten the yoke which your father put on us? The young man who grew up with him spoke to him, saying, Thus you shall say to these people who spoke to you, saying, Your father made our yoke heavy, now you make it lighter for us. But you shall speak to them, My little finger is thicker than my father's loins. Whereas my father loaded you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. Then Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king had directed, saying, Return to me on the 3rd day. The king answered the people harshly, and he forsook the advice of the elders which they had given him. And he spoke to them according to the advice of the young man, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. So the king did not listen to the people, for it was a turn of events from the Lord, that he might establish his word, which the Lord spoke through Ahijah the Shilonite, to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. The kingdom divided. Jeroboam rules Israel. When all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now look after your own house, David. So Israel departed to their tents. But as for the sons of Israel who lived in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. The Lord bless reading His words. Please be seated. Let us pray. Father, again, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your spirit among us. We pray that you will make your name exalted in our midst. I pray for this poor man, Lord, that you may come and empower him from on high. Without you, he can do nothing. Hide him behind the cross of Christ, that we may see Jesus and humble us, so that in time appointed we may be raised in glory together with him. For we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Yesterday there were a lot of people who were here, and even though it was hot and hard work, they were all smiling and happy. And that's the unity that gives us excitement, and the reason why we're going to celebrate. By the way, the work that they did was in preparation for the 30 years of being here, the celebration of God's faithfulness for 30 years, and people of God faithfulness to their Lord. And by the way, that event did not happen if there were not for a few people who took the lead in making it happen. It took leaders for that to happen. People initiated. And I've noticed when I was doing those things in the plants, by the way, you notice those plants? Ooh, they're all over. And took some real muscle to move those plants. But our people got plenty of energy. and unity, that's a display of unity. And I noticed that we're not the only one united. There were a lot of ants in single file moving. And guess what? They're moving in one direction. And I noticed that they are kind of organized. Much like us, we were organized, and these ants were organized. None of them is going the opposite way. They're all heading in one direction. I guess their colony was disturbed of all the cleanup. So they said, we got to move out of here and move somewhere else. And you know what? Them ants also have leaders. Yeah, that's why they go in one direction, because their leader is heading that way. And so leaders are very important. I'm going to speak to you the importance of leaders. And many of you, if not all, are already leaders. In fact, we're all leaders in our own rights. At home, at work, in school, and maybe in your little corner there, you're a leader. And they are important. The importance of leaders. And you don't see that only in people, among little bugs like ants, as small as they are, but even among wolves, you know, pack of wolves, they follow a leader too. And in our church, we thank God for leaders. This church won't be celebrating 30 years of anniversary if there were no leaders who led this church through the mandate of God for the last 30 years. God bless those leaders. And that's why we're going to celebrate 30 years anniversary, because there were people who stand their ground to lead this congregation to this point in time. My question to you this morning is, can you tell a leader when you see one? Can you tell a leader when you see one? And the title of our message this morning, How Leaders Are Made. How to choose the right leaders. That's the subtitle, if I would call it that way. How to choose the right leaders. How are they made? Because we hear people looking for leaders, wondering where they are now. And in our church, if you notice, we have some postings of youth activity, at least about 3 or 4 times already. And go out there and have fun. By the way, that's all they want, fun. But that's just part of the activity. We do more than just having fun. Because we believe that these youths, someday they're going to grow up. And if they don't know how to be a leader, they're not going to take leadership position. But we have leaders here who are concerned about that. And so that event happened. It didn't just happen on their own. There were leaders who decided we got to do something about these young people here who are here. Not those that are not here, but those who are here. We got to do something about them. So that perhaps one day they would become a leader also in this church as they grow. They could be leaders of tomorrow. And again, those activities didn't happen if it was not for a few people who took the lead to make it happen. And people are asking today, not only in our church but in different circles, people are looking and asking, where are the leaders? Or where are the future leaders? And that is a very important question. Very important question. Because we need to understand who are qualified leaders. We don't just shout people, oh, you be a leader. You cannot just simply do that, because the work of a leader is very, very important and very critical. First of all, the blessings and dangers of leaders. A lot of people were blessed because there was a leader who led them to a place of blessing. You know that? Some families out there are languishing because the leader in their home were not that good. But others are so blessed because the leader in their home were so good a leader. Leaders play a very important roles in every organization for good. That's the first thing. Leaders play a very important roles in every organization for good. The Philippines, for example, boasts of many heroes. Man, we have a land of noble heroes. If you look at those heroes, they are leaders. They are leaders in their own land. Church, especially in the Catholic tradition, honors many so-called saints. But if you look at those people who were used by God, they were leaders also. That's why I say leaders play a very important role in bringing good. But leaders also, if you look at the history of this world, leaders played the important roles for the death of millions and destructions of nations and kingdoms. All you have to do is go back World War II. How many millions were killed because of a man called Hitler? He was a leader. He led his nation to destruction, in ruins after World War II. And not only in ruins, but millions of lives were snapped out. Not only in Germany, but throughout the world, because he is a leader. Pol Pot of Cambodia, at least they say 3 million Cambodians were murdered because of this leader, Pol Pot. Idi Amin, I don't know if you know Idi Amin. Stalin, by the millions, perished, driven from their homes to Siberia because of this man. Powerful leaders. Hirohito destroyed the Japanese Empire after World War II. And leaders can bring a lot of good or can bring a lot of destruction. That's why you got to be wise in picking a leader. And you need to understand how they are made. And because you cannot just simply look at people and think they're leaders. Now, let me ask you this, the qualities of good leaders. What are the qualities of a good leader? Well, first of all, good leaders often comes with age, but not always. There are leaders who are young. What's the name of this the youngest general who died in the Filipino Revolution? General, what's that?
Emilio Pinado.
No, not him. It's always there, but I can't recall right now. He died in Tiran Pass. His He's known as the Leonidas of the Philippines.
Gregorio del Pilar.
Gregorio del Pilar. Youngest general. And he was a leader, was a young man. But most of the leaders are people who comes to it, with certain degree of maturity. The reason why leaders often comes with age, because with age comes experience.
Maturity.
With age comes, with experience comes knowledge. And knowledge comes understanding. And with understanding comes wisdom. You need a wise leader. And wisdom doesn't just drop out of the sky or like a dew you pick up in the morning. No, it comes with age. Like I said, a friend of mine one day told me, you know, my boss, he has gray hairs, but he doesn't show wisdom. He said, once I have a crown of wisdom, I'm not going to act like him. He calls uban, you know, white hair, a crown of wisdom. So I try not to show my wisdom by kind of coloring it a little bit. So, because with age comes experience, and with experience comes knowledge and understanding, and that knowledge and understanding can give you wisdom if you apply. In the military, they give leadership by ranks and by seniority. Seniority in ranks, meaning there are many sergeants, regular sergeant, staff sergeant, master sergeant, and all kinds of sergeants. They come by ranks. And also by seniority in time of service determines who will be in charge or leader. If you are both sergeant, the same rank, then who will be the leader? It comes now to who has spent most time, or who was promoted first between the two of you. Because they recognize also not only rank, but seniority. He's more senior, so he's the one who takes the lead. Time in service and knowledge of the facts and truth comes to play when you choose a leader. In fact, companies, when they hire people, it's always there. What is your experience? How long have you been doing this job? It will determine if you're going to get hired or not, and it will determine sometimes whether you get promoted or not. Depending, and what kind of pay scale you get. You say, well, we both got hired at the same time, but how come he got higher pay scale than I am? That's why they don't show your paycheck to somebody. Keep it to yourself, because people might get jailed. We're hired at the same time, how come he got more pay than? Because in his application, during his interview, the manager found out he has more experience than you. So that comes to play. So what to look for a leader? A good leader must be a man of wisdom and discernment. A good leader must have good understanding. A good leader must have maturity in age, experience, hence we call wisdom and discernment. A good leader must be willing to listen and follow what is right. You know, there are some leaders, they know that's right, but they won't follow. But you see, a leader must know what's right and follow it. Because if it doesn't come from them, they won't follow it. Now that's what you call pride and jealousy. Right? So a good leader must be willing to listen and follow what he believes or what is right. A good leader must know he doesn't know everything. A good leader must recognize that there are a lot out there that he or she does not know. Thus, a good leader must always be open and be willing to learn. A good leader must recognize who are qualified or candidate for leadership. You see, if you're a leader, it is your job to determine who is qualified to be a leader or not. A good leader must recognize who can be trusted to have a leadership position. Why? Because we already said that That could be a dangerous thing to put the wrong person in a leadership job. History proves us again and again. But sometimes, what are the negative? What are the things that we should avoid? Well, leaders must not always be the oldest one. Oh, I'm the oldest one here, so I must be leader. No, it doesn't always work like that. It's not always the smart one or the brightest ones or the one with degrees. Because some people say, let's appoint him a leader. Why? Well, he has so many education behind him. Have you been in his living room? What? One diploma after another. Let's make him a leader. Not always work like that. Not always the educated ones, in other words. Not always the biggest ones. Let's make him a leader. Well, he's the tallest. It's not always the most aggressive one or the loudest one. Some people, let's appoint him. Boy, man, you should. But, aggressiveness and being sure of yourself, one of the qualities of a good leader. But Mahatma Gandhi, I don't know if you know him, Mahatma Gandhi, he won the independence of India from Great Britain without firing a shot. He practiced what is known as passive resistance. Just how powerful Gandhi is, let's see a movie about him, but how powerful it is. There was a riot that happened in Calcutta, India, one time. The Viceroy of India is Lord Mountbatten. He is pretty much the one ruling India. Lord Mountbatten sent 50,000 soldiers to stop the rioting and the out of control people. He could not do it with 50,000. Gandhi was asked, can you go to Calcutta and speak to the people? As soon as Gandhi stepped out of the plane, all rioting stopped. Lord Mountbatten says, what 50,000 soldiers could not do, and with guns and machine guns, Gandhi did it without firing a shot. He just stepped out there, make his presence known to the people. I am here. That was enough to stop the riot. I tell you, that's leadership. And yet, Gandhi, they say that if you ask people to vote on Gandhi, he would win by no hands rising. Because he is like a very unassuming kind of man. He is not like our thinking of leaders as bravado or, someone who really can deliver it. In fact, he was so powerful, Gandhi, that they don't know what to do with him. So they said the only way we can stop Gandhi is to put him in jail. So he put him in jail, and guess what? He was more dangerous inside the jail than when he was outside. And they said, we got to release this man or we will be in more serious trouble. As leadership, you cannot confine people. You cannot stop people who are true leaders. They will accomplish what they would like to do, whether outside or inside. So we need to know how to identify them, because sometimes they're not easy to spot. And here in the Bible, we have many examples of great leaders that God has used. And I would like you to take note, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 16. Now, Ecclesiastes is called one of the books of wisdom. It belongs, the Bible is, especially the Old Testament, is divided into the book of laws, the book of history, First Kings, Second Kings, historical books, poetic books like Psalms and Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes belongs to what is known as wisdom books, books of wisdom, like Songs of Solomon. And here is what it says in chapter 10, verse 16. It says, woe to you, O land, whose king is a lamb, and whose princes feast in the morning. Now, I looked at many different translations, different versions, and they all speak of the same thing except the NIV. It says that, woe to you, O land or kingdom, whose king is a young boy or a youth. A lad is a young man, a young boy. Why is that? Woe, meaning sorry for you. Sorry for you if the one reigning or ruling is a young man or a youth. And a lot of commentaries in the Bible would speak to that. The first one we'll look at is Isaiah chapter 3. Isaiah chapter 3 speaks of God going to punish the nation Israel. God is going to judge this nation because of their rebellion against God, because of their disobedience against God. God said, I'm going to judge these people. And you know, in the Bible, God uses many things to bring judgment. Could be famine, drought, could be plagues, locusts, and all that. But here is a kind of strange kind of punishment. Maybe you should read the Bible itself. Here's what God says. Chapter 3. For behold, the Lord God of hosts is going to what? Remove from Jerusalem and Judah. He's going to remove both supply and support. The whole supply of bread, the whole supply of water. Now that's for the tangible things. But notice, the mighty man and the warrior, the judge and the prophet, the diviner and the elder, the captain of 50 and the honorable man, the counselor and the expert artisan, and the skillful enchanter. God said, I'm going to remove all these people. And I will replace them what? And I will make mere lads, youth, their princes. Princes here is the word for rulers. And capricious children will rule over them. What kind of punishment is this? What kind of judgment? God says, I'm going to remove those who have maturity, those who understand, those who have experience. I'm gonna punish them by giving them leaders who don't know what they're doing. Wow. God could do all kinds of judgment and punishment, but this is one way He punished people. By removing wisdom, understanding, knowledge. He said, I'm going to remove all of them. Instead, I'm going to replace them with people who don't know what they're doing. Bunch of kids. That's why it says, woe to a nation whose leaders are children. But we want to have youth. Why? Because we believe, just like Dr. Rizal says, nasa kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Yeah. Our great national hero, Philippines. It is in the youth. The future of the nation is in the youth. I agree, because you and I were once youth. Look what you're doing now. You're now a leader. Oh, but you didn't just pop out of nowhere become a leader. Something happened to you before you arrived to where you are. So here, they are, God says, I'm going to put in a position of leadership people with no experience, people with no knowledge, people who don't know what they're doing. And the result, these people will suffer. Wow. That is going to be my judgment to these people. Would you have that, or you want a plague instead? Send us a plague rather than kids to rule us. Remove the rain, but don't remove the wise man and the experience and all. Yes, remove the rain. We'll go find water, but don't remove the people who knows what they're doing. Wow. Because the mighty man, the warrior, the judge, the prophet, the diviner, the elder, the captain, the counselor, the expert, skillful in charge, these all points to man of experience, man of wisdom, man who has achieved maturity. That's why they weren't in that position. You can't be captain if you don't know what you're doing. You should be a private. How can you be honorable if you're always in the strict language of today, palpak is your decision. That's strict language, not pulpit language. You see, but God says, I will punish you. I will replace those wise men, those leaders, with a bunch of kids to lead this nation. Because a prince is a leader of his people. Wow. Could God do that? He did. He did. That's why in our democracy, we have the opportunity to pick the ones that we think is wise. But that doesn't always mean those who got white hair are always wise. Look what happened in Manila. Finally, they say Manila is cleaned up now, and they have a young mayor compared to the, but that mayor had attained wisdom and experience. He's not just a high school graduate guy. He did not just come out of college life, He has already attained a certain degree of knowledge and experience. 1 Kings chapter 12. And this is the one that we read. And in this context, God made a promise to this man by the name of Jeroboam. And he will fulfill. You know when God made a promise, he always fulfills it. You know that? He promised you something, you just wait for his time, not your time. You wait for his calendar because he got it marked X. Right here, not over there where you have your own X. Because he follows his own plan, not yours. That's why in our prayer we always end according to your will, Lord. You see, God made a promise to Jeroboam that he will become a leader. And one thing about God, when he promised, he will deliver. And it's no longer your problem how that thing will happen. It is now God's problem. You just have to follow. Learn to obey and trust him. God will deliver what he said he will do. Amen. That's why I have no problem waiting for a house. Because somewhere in my dream he promised. I will tell you later on. I just have to wait. Just have to have patience. Okay? Same thing with you. I don't know what God promised you, but it's going to happen. That is if you believe God. Somebody said on the radio this morning, I took my son to the airport. I was listening to Alistair Begg and said, there are so many, they said there are so many people who come to church and they say they believe in God, when actually in back of their head they don't believe it. You know because you see them what happened when they got out of church. They do what they want to do, not what God says. And so, I just heard that on the radio. You see, God allowed Rehoboam, in this story here,